When Magic Kingdom first opened on October 1st, 1971, it wasn't just built as a theme park. It was designed as a living storybook, and over the decades, while attractions have changed, moved, or even disappeared completely, Disney Imagineers have made sure their magic never truly faded away. Instead, those original experiences live on through tiny Easter eggs, clever allusions, and details so subtle you might walk right past them without even knowing that they're there. That's the real Disney magic. Stories hidden in plain sight, waiting for the guests who slow down and look just a little closer. And nowhere is that more true than in Fantasyland over at Magic Kingdom. This land is packed with playful nods, secret tributes, and incredible attention to detail, and today I'm sharing 7 of my absolute favorite hidden details in Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom. Number 1. To kick things off, our first detail is a love letter to classic attraction that no longer exists, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea Submarine Voyage. This attraction was based on the 1954 Disney film adaptation of Jules Verne's classic. Guests boarded submarine-shaped ride vehicles modeled after Captain Nemo's Nautilus and dove into an underwater world filled with sea creatures, shipwrecks, reefs, and even attacks from giant squid, all viewed from the porthole windows as the sub glided through the water-filled lagoon. It was designed to be immersive and evocative of classic undersea adventure, blending storytelling with physical set pieces and sound effects to bring the famous voyage to life. It was one of the original headline attractions in Fantasyland when Magic Kingdom first opened, replicating the concept of Disneyland's original submarine voyage, but with distinct theming tied to the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea film and story. This attraction remained open for over 20 years before it finally closed in 1994, mainly due to high maintenance costs, expensive repairs that were required for the aging infrastructure, and just a slow, low-capacity loading process. Even though the ride is gone, its legacy quietly lives on through Fantasyland to this day. When the new Fantasyland expansion was constructed, Imagineers paid homage to this classic attraction. If you travel to the Little Mermaid section of the Fantasyland area, you can find a couple of Easter eggs tied to the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea attraction. Located in the exterior portion of the standby queue on the rock wall, shortly before you enter the covered grotto area, you can see a carving in the rocks of the Nautilus submarine, which serves as a nice little tribute to the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine voyage ride, which formerly occupied the same spot in Fantasyland. This isn't the only nod to the original attraction with Fantasyland either. Once you exit the attraction, directly straight across from the exit, you're going to see H. Goff Cartography, which is named after Harper Goff, a legendary Disney Imagineer. And at the top of that structure, if you look all the way up, you can see a weather vane with a squid on it, which is another nod to the former attraction. Finally, we have one last little Easter egg tied to this attraction, but we need to travel to Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Right outside of this attraction, you're going to find Winnie the Pooh's house, which is essentially this giant tree next to the attraction entrance. Well, if you enter the tree from the right side and immediately turn to look at the wood grain just above the doorway that you just entered, you're going to find a Nautilus carved in there as well. Now, it might seem very random and out of place to be located here. However, this tree was originally built for a playground called Pooh's Playful Spot, which sat directly on the land formerly occupied by the submarine's ride lagoon. And when the playground was replaced by the Seven Dwarfs mine train, the tree was moved across the path to its current location in the Pooh Red Cube. And before you leave this tree, go ahead and do yourself a favor and turn around to the other entrance for another nice little surprise, because right above that frame, you're going to see a fun little hidden Mickey. Number 2. Next up is a detail that proves Disney really does think of everything. Now, every castle needs a few personal touches, and Cinderella's is no exception. Hidden just behind her castle is a charming little detail that feels like it was designed especially for its royal owner. Behind Cinderella Castle, you're going to find a beautiful fountain featuring the princess herself, Cinderella, along with some of her friends, and just behind her is a beautifully designed mosaic as an added element. What's fun about this though is that when the Disney Imagineers designed this, they did so with the intent of making this special for the children that visit the park. The mosaic behind the fountain features a crown, which when viewed from a child's perspective gives the illusion that it's placed perfectly on Cinderella's head. I absolutely love that the Imagineers designed it this way. It's such a subtle, magical touch and just a reminder that Fantasyland is built through the eyes of a child first. So next time you're in Magic Kingdom, just take a moment to step into a child's shoes and enjoy this sweet tribute to Cinderella from their perspective. Moving on to number 3. If you follow this channel, you know I love a good hidden Mickey, and anytime I see one that's different than the traditional Mickey silhouette, well, that's just the cherry on top. Directly in between Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Enchanted Tales with Belle, you can find a hidden Oswald. How cool is that? And if you're not familiar with this character, Oswald was Walt Disney's first major character before Mickey Mouse. And to find him, it can be a little tricky to spot, but if you follow the Enchanted Tales with Belle's sign and then straight down to the ground, you can follow this long crack in the floor, which has another crack veering off of that first one. And if you follow that second crack all the way, it's going to lead you right to that hidden Oswald. Take a look at that. It's pretty cool, huh? There's actually apparently another hidden Oswald in a wooden beam on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but I personally haven't seen this one yet, so if you spotted that one before, let me know in the comments where specifically this one is, so that way next time I ride it, I can go ahead and check it out myself, because like I said, I love these things, I love finding them, and I'm excited to see for myself. Number 4. For this one, we're moving to just across from Cinderella's fountain to Sir Mickey's. Sir Mickey's is a merchandise shop just behind Cinderella's castle and is themed to both the 1938 animated short The Brave Little Tailor and Mickey and the Beanstalk, which came out in 1947. Both share a similar plot structure and theme, with Mickey essentially battling a giant, and when you go into the shop, you can find two familiar characters. One, just behind the counters in the corner, you can find Mickey from The Brave Little Tailor, which we know it's from this short because of his blue top and the red pants, and then hiding in the ceiling by the back wall, we can see the giant from Mickey and the Beanstalk. I love how fun this detail is. It's playful, immersive, makes you feel like you're part of the story, and just one of the details that it's easy to miss if you're not looking for it. And I'm glad Imagineers incorporated some of the old classic stories into the storytelling of this land. Number 5. We all know 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea still makes the occasional splash through hidden details around Fantasyland, but that's not the only opening day attraction that never really left the park. Let's shift our attention to another classic whose spirit lives on through some delightfully sneaky Easter eggs tucked away for the most observant guests to discover. Enter Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was a dark ride inspired by the Wind in the Willows that put guests in the driver's seat of the reckless and lovable Mr. Toad. The attraction opened with Magic Kingdom in 1971 and remained a beloved classic until it took its final wild ride and closed in 1998. However, you can actually still find this ride over at Disneyland Park in California. When Mr. Toad's Wild Ride closed to make way for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Disney made sure Mr. Toad wouldn't be forgotten. Inside this attraction, you can find two little Easter eggs that pay homage to this original classic attraction, and both take place just inside Owl's house. If you're looking to spot both of these little details, you'll have to look pretty quick as both are on opposite sides of the room and it goes pretty fast. The second you enter Owl's room, immediately look to the left and you may be able to spot a framed image of Mr. Toad handing over the deed to his house. This little detail suggests that Mr. Toad may have sold his property to Owl, cleverly explaining the transition from one attraction to the next. Further on in the same scene on the right side, there's another picture on the floor just before you exit the house, which is an image of Mole tipping his hat to Winnie the Pooh as another gesture of the handoff to the current attraction. The fun doesn't stop here either. You can also spot Mr. Toad in the graveyard just outside the exit of the Haunted Mansion for yet another fun little tribute to this iconic attraction. So, the next time that you ride through the Magic Kingdom, keep your eyes peeled because you just never know which piece of Disney history might be hiding in plain sight. Number 6. Just before you head out of Fantasyland, making your way to Liberty Square, you will pass the Tangled section. The Tangled area might be famous for having the best bathrooms in the park, but the details here go way beyond that. This space used to be part of the Skyway system, but today it's one of the most beautifully themed areas in Fantasyland. What may be one of the most underrated sections in Magic Kingdom, in my opinion, this area features a nice little sitting area which is great for when you need to just take a little break from the hustle and bustle of Magic Kingdom. The best part of the seating area though is that each of these tables are equipped with a charging station, which comes in quite handy. Also in the back of the seating area, if you make your way to the very back, you're going to see a sign which introduces you to a little game of trying to spot all of the hidden Pascals in the area. I believe there are 10 total Pascals that you can spot in this section, and to be quite honest with you, some of these are pretty tricky to spot. So if you don't spot them all, don't be too hard on yourself because some of them I'm pretty sure are quite buried in some of the foliage that has just built up over the time, which makes it quite near impossible to spot from any vantage point that you're looking at. The last little detail in here that I want to point out is just as you exit the area making your way to the Haunted Mansion. Just before you leave, take a second and look down at the ground and you should be able to spot Maximus' horseshoe prints. But if you actually look carefully, you will notice there's two different prints in the ground. One certainly belongs to Maximus, and we know this because his name is etched in the print. But who else could the other prints belong to? Well, they belong to none other than the Phantom Horse that resides just outside of the Haunted Mansion attraction. How fun is that? Number 7. For our last final detail, or details I should say, we're actually headed to Gaston's Tavern. The second you arrive in this location, you're greeted by none other than Gaston himself. Well, at least in statue form. If you look at the plaque on the fountain, you see that he actually gifted the statue of himself to the town, which is very fitting of his self-centered personality. Once you make it inside the tavern, there's no denying that this indeed belongs to Gaston. Everywhere you look, there's antlers and trophies of his hunts for decoration, and it all wouldn't be complete without a portrait of himself. The food here is actually some of my favorite in all of Magic Kingdom, and I highly recommend checking it out for yourself if you haven't yet. And then when you do, take a quick moment to look at the barrels of ale behind the counter. The names printed on them are actually clever, with a couple little Easter eggs hidden in plain sight. You have Stag's Ale, which is a reference to Tom Staggs, who was chairman of Disney Parks and Resorts when the new Fantasyland expansion was developed. You also have the Trois Blondes, which is a direct nod to the three blondes in the opening number of Beauty and the Beast. Chateau Blunderbuss, which Chateau is French for castle, and Blunderbuss is the type of gun that Gaston carries around in the film. And then my favorite, Igerbach, which is directly attributed to Bob Iger himself. The fun details don't end here either. Once you exit, head over to the merchandise shop next door, Bonjour Village Gifts. If you make your way to the very back, you're going to see a portrait of a man. And if you're not familiar with who this is, it's Phil Holmes. Phil Holmes ended his career with Disney as the vice president of Hollywood Studios and retired in 2020, but spent a major stint of his career as the vice president of Magic Kingdom, which is why this portrait was dedicated to him. There are several important elements to note inside this portrait. You have his ring with the 40 on it to signify his 40-year milestone with the company. The Donald statue in the top left is an award given to those that have been with the company for 40 years. You have the Magic Kingdom map tied to his longevity with the Magic Kingdom Park, and then you've got other elements tied to the attractions and projects that Phil has worked on, such as the apple for Snow White's Scary Adventures, the peanuts for Storybook Circus, Genie's lamp is tied to the Magic Carpets of Aladdin attraction, and then just behind Phil's shoulder, you can see a piece of Haunted Mansion wallpaper attributing to Phil's time as an attractions host at the Haunted Mansion. Fantasyland may look like a fairy tale on the surface, but hidden inside are layers of history, heart, and storytelling that only Disney could pull off. So the next time that you're walking through the Magic Kingdom, slow down, look closer, and just remember there's always more magic hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more Disney secrets, and let me know in the comments which Fantasyland details surprised you the most.